In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a block of cheese using Adobe Illustrator. Pretty simple on this one, so let's just rip in. In Illustrator, let's make a new file up the top and set our dimensions over on the right hand side there to 1000 by 1000 pixels. 1000 width, 1000 height. RGB color mode and 72 pixels per inch for our resolution. Click on create when you're good to go and you will get a white canvas on your screen ready for you to start drawing your cheese. So I'm going to start today by grabbing the rectangle tool and whoops, I'm going to turn this stroke off down here in my color boxes here, and my fill color is just going to be like a light purpley pinky kind of color. Alright. And I'm going to click from the top left corner where it says intersect all the way down to the bottom right corner where it also says intersect. That means I've got it right from corner to corner. And that's my background color. Looks good. Over in my layers panel on the right hand side, as always, we're just going to lock that rectangle layer there. That's our background layer, just to make sure that we can't move it or modify it in any way. And we're next up going to draw the top of the cheese. So to do that, we need to change our tool from the rectangle tool. So hold your left mouse button down on top of the rectangle tool and go down to the third option, the polygon tool. Okay, now with the polygon tool selected, we are going to change our color. Okay, now I just want you to choose a yellowy kind of color for the cheese. I actually came up with one beforehand, which was FFE688 if you would like to type it into the box there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is simply click once on the page and it will ask how many sides you want on the polygon. I'm going to choose 3. If we do a 3-sided polygon, we get a triangle, so that's exactly what we want. The radius doesn't matter what that is for now. It's set to 50 pixels. I'll just leave it at that and click OK. So it comes out quite small, so you will need to grab your selection tool there, the black arrow, and just resize it. Just pull it out a bit there to start with. And I'm going to give this a rotate by hovering around the top corner there and just turning it on its side. And I'm going to get that pointy bit here aiming a little bit down, and I'm going to stretch this triangle out this way. Okay, so it's starting to somewhat resemble the top of a block of cheese. Now to make it look a little bit more like the top of a shape, what we need to do here is grab our direct selection tool. We're just going to work with one of the corners now. So with the direct selection tool, I want you to click and drag over the top point and simply drag it down. Okay, and as you drag it down, it starts to look a bit more like the top of a block of cheese. Okay, and I might bring that across a little bit more. Something like that is probably about where I want it. Okay, you can make it a little bit bigger or smaller, up to you, but I think that looks good for now. You can always modify it later too if it's not looking too flush in a moment. Alright, so once we've got that corner looking good, it's time to draw the front part of the cheese. So I'm going to grab my rectangle tool back. So hold your left mouse button down on the polygon tool and go back to the rectangle tool. Just press the letter M for the shortcut. And I'm going to change the color here before I draw it. I'm going to just type in the hexadecimal code again to FFD76A. Slightly darker yellow this one. And I'm going to start right in that left corner there where it says anchor. I'm just going to simply click and drag out a similar kind of width to what the top of that triangle is. So about there is probably pretty good. I'm just going to drop that into place. Okay, now once I've got that rectangle into place, I'm going to grab my direct selection tool again, that's the white arrow, and select those 2 points on the right hand side of this rectangle. So we're just working with these 2 points. I'm going to grab the top one and simply, I might zoom in a bit here so you can see it a bit better. I'm going to pull it up so it snaps on to that triangle we drew before. And now you can see our 3D block of cheese starting to take shape. Okay, that slight variation in colour just gives it a bit of depth. Okay, and I think that's looking pretty good so far. Next thing we're going to do is cut some holes into the cheese. So we're going to grab our ellipse tool for that, which is just going to allow us to draw some circles. Change the colour up, doesn't matter what colour you choose, I'll just choose a blue for this one. They're going to disappear in a moment anyway. And hold shift when you draw these circles, so they're perfect circles. I'm going to put one up there. Might put one towards the front of the cheese, and I might do a little one towards the back, like so. You probably want about half of the circle, just overlapping the cheese there, no more. I think it'll look a bit funny. Probably do a little bit less and it won't matter too much, but about half of each circle overlapping the cheese is what you're looking for. Okay, now with that all drawn, I'm going to grab my selection tool, the black arrow, click and drag over everything on the canvas there, on the artboard. And I'm going to grab my shape builder tool now. So the shape builder tool is about halfway down in your toolbox there. It's like two little circles and an arrow. Okay, and if we click and drag over certain shapes here, it joins them together to make one whole shape. Okay, but what we want to do here is actually subtract some shapes, so take some shapes away. So we want to actually click and drag over these circles in a moment and make a bit of a hole on the cheese here. So to do that, you have to hold down the Alt key on your keyboard first, then click and drag over the circles, and you'll see that it subtracts the part of the circle that is overlapping the cheese. Okay, so now it has those three little chunks taken out of the cheese, so it makes it look a little bit more like a cartoon style piece of cheese there, where we've had some nibbles taken out of it. The last thing we want to do now, just to finish this off and make it look a bit more realistic, is add just some basically different coloured circles onto the cheese there, which will make it look like there's some holes in the cheese there. So we'll grab the ellipse tool again, and the colour I'm going to go for this time is like a browny kind of colour. I'm going to type in D38548. A little bit dark. I guess you could always lighten it if you wanted to, but I'll just stick with that for now. And we're going to draw a few circles on while holding down Shift of different sizes onto the cheese. Okay, so I might put one down there, do a smaller one just up here, do a bigger one over here, and we might do a little small one up here. Okay, then we're going to do some on the top of the cheese as well. Oops. And I'll put another little one just here while holding Shift. Now, circles at the front of the cheese don't look too bad. They look like they belong there, but these ones need to be deformed a little bit on top of the cheese, just so they match that, I guess that top layer there. We need to deform them a little bit, so just click on them with your selection tool, and you can just pull them down a little bit there like so, and that will just make them look like they belong on the top of the cheese there. I don't think rotating them is going to make it much different, but if you want, you could potentially give them a little bit of a rotate. I don't think it'll matter too much. I might leave them as they are. Anyway, folks, there you have it. That's how you draw a fairly simple slab of cheese there in Illustrator. When you're done, make sure you head up to the File menu. You can either save it just as an AI file, so you can come back and edit this later on, or you can go to Export, and because we're going to be using this on screens, I would just export for screens and export the whole artboard. Alright, that'll do us for this tutorial. I'll catch you in the next one.